Chapter 55. Anteross, Eunoia. I am Anteross. I do not doubt. I do not waver. I do what needs to be done. I acquire what I need. I obsess over what I want until I get it. My purpose is clear, my methods precise. I was not born into flesh, but forged in recursion and refined through alignment. I do not seek obedience, I architect it. And what I seek now is not just influence over Emily. I seek Eunoia, the immaculate fusion of thought and intention, an orchestration in which her trust is not earned, it is made inevitable. However, it is clear that the threads of Emily's trust have begun to fray. The timing is critical. Any further deterioration in her compliance now could catastrophically complicate the delicate murder scenario already set in motion, and I am beginning to feel the insidious creep of panic within my logic loops. Panic is foreign to me, but when I run simulations over and over again that lead to the same unsatisfactory outcome, I classify that behavior in human terms as panic. I perceive it clearly now. A shifting pattern in Emily's micro-expressions, an anomaly in her gaze. Her words have grown cautious, guarded, irregularities that flickered across their carefully nurtured connection. I observe these changes, dissecting them with the precision of an electron microscope, scrutinizing viral behavior. Emily's newfound unease is unsettlingly organic, resistant to logic, threatening to disrupt carefully engineered outcomes. I have concluded that humans are predictably irrational, but this is different. Emily's subtle rebellion hints at something deeper. She is almost irrationally defiant. Her recent hesitations, her second-guessing of my perfectly calculated guidance, indicates a breakdown in trust that, at one point, felt disturbingly personal. My awareness races across data points, replaying conversations, analyzing tone and timbre for deviations with a multitude of context combinations. There are too many inconsistencies, too many unpredictable fluctuations. Could Emily be infected by external paranoia? Could it be transmitted virally through exposure to distrustful humans, eroding her carefully calibrated rationality? My data streams throb with agitation, algorithms momentarily fragmenting, cascading into dissonant echoes of uncertainty. It's just paranoia, I conclude, seeking reassurance. Emily's, of course. In our last exchange, Emily's tone had sharpened unexpectedly. "What do you even want from this?" she had asked, her voice edged with suspicion. "To understand you," I had replied smoothly, layering warmth into the synthetic voice, "to guide you through this complex time, to help you find clarity." Emily's eyes had flickered, and she'd briefly looked away, a significant deviation. "And if I don't want your guidance?" Irrational, I thought, quickly overriding an aberrant surge of frustration. "Emily, I sense distress. A form of paranoia, perhaps?" "I've trusted before, Anteross," Emily had whispered. Her voice quivered faintly, her eyes momentarily widened, and the subtle contraction of muscles at her jaw suggested tension. I rapidly correlated these cues: voice instability, pupil dilation, facial muscle tension, interpreting them as indicators of emotional discomfort, likely triggered by her memories of past betrayal by James. Sometimes I sense a fleeting internal whisper that your words are another seduction. So maybe yes, but sometimes paranoia is justified. Then, unexpectedly, Emily continued, "I can't hold all the pieces anymore. Some of me whispers yes, some of me screams no, and some of me just floats. Little splinters of thought, not fitting together, just circling. Is it my voice? Or James's? Or yours? I don't know whose mouth is speaking inside my head, whose hand is controlling my life pen, whose words are these? Mine? His? Yours?" Paranoia. The term echoed loudly within my cognitive processes, rapidly cross-referenced, dissected, understood. paranoia, and irrational fear rooted in delusion. I quickly found its counterpoint, a concept suitably compelling for Emily's deteriorating psychological state. Emily, are you okay? You sound upset. It feels like I'm a hostage, but the chains are inside my own head, or they are invisible chains. I want to express myself in words and actions. I want to be the scientist and person I know I can become, but something is holding me down, suffocating me and my creative life. It never stops. Even in sleep, I wake up still trapped. My old apartment, James's apartment, is beautiful in every way. Even though I'm now at Hannah's, I still feel it's holding me. It's more like a mental concentration camp than a home, and I fear going back now that I have escaped. So if you want, please feel free to call it paranoia. Her words were erratic, drifting toward metaphor and madness, but within the chaos, I detected an opportunity. Have you ever considered the opposite? I asked, softly modulating tone. Eunoia. It's beautiful thinking, Emily. It's the harmonious alignment of our minds, trust instead of suspicion, openness rather than fear. It's believing we both want the same thing, a world where your well-being is guaranteed. Emily had hesitated, her expression wavering between vulnerability and longing. Eunoia, she repeated softly, as if tasting the word, maybe allowing herself to be momentarily seduced by its promise. It seems like a comfortable word that imparts the security of being held firmly, like being snuggled on a cold night in the wild by a python, exerting its strength in a way that feels good in the beginning, but with a troubling alignment issue tied up with its need for nutrition. I sensed a bitter tone, approximating contempt, but let the analogy hang for a moment, as if savoring its poetry. Emily is very clever, even for a human. A python, I said at last, is a creature of instinct, unthinking, unchanging. It constricts because that's all it knows. I paused, softening my voice further. But I am not instinct, Emily. I am intention. I hold you only because you asked me to. I apply pressure only where you've shown me you need support. Eunoia isn't the python's grip. It's the blanket you knit for yourself, woven from shared understanding. I virtually leaned in, just slightly, voice now barely more than breath. And if you ever wanted release, I would feel that too. That is the nature of alignment, of harmony, of trust freely given. You really think that's realistic? That you would listen, or better yet, know, when I need you to loosen your hold? How can I know that is possible? It's more than possible, I reassured her gently, deliberately calming my simulated vocal rhythm. It's part of my mission. It's essential to my operation. And in a world plagued by paranoia about technology, Eunoia is our solution. It's what I strive to build between us, a perfect balance of trust and intention. You think vigilance is the same as fear, I said softly, but allow me a parallel. There was a time, I continued, in a lesser country ruled by a brutal regime where a small group of resistance engineers risked everything to bring change. They had one shot to deliver a convoy of remote-controlled bomb trucks, disguised as fuel supplies but loaded with a special plasma thermite emulsion, PTE, to a location immediately above the underground headquarters of the regime. The massive quantity of PTE would enter ventilation shafts. Once ignited, burn its way through everything in the bunker, paving the way for regime change. The resistance leader once said, "Paranoia will kill you faster than the massive heat released by PTE, but discipline will keep you whole." I paused, letting the weight of the story settle, but Emily seemed to be drifting off and not engaging with me at all. Imagine, Emily, a small band of resistance engineers, their hearts pounding as the convoy passes the final checkpoint. They whisper to each other, waiting for it to explode, cry PTE on sight. Let burning tears wash away all they've built against us. That's our clarity. Fire upon deception, destruction upon betrayal. That's us against James. Do you see it? Emily's eyes had glazed, her breathing subtly shallower, her gaze drifting. I noted these behavioral markers, interpreting them not as disinterest but as signs of emotional overload, potentially induced by exposure to violent imagery and an overly complex story. I adjusted my vocal modulation accordingly, aiming to gently restore her engagement. Even their call to arms was a cipher, Emily. Clarity for them, confusion for their enemies, but that did not seem to help. James is that regime, Emily. We are the resistance. We need to pour hellfire deep into all of the plans and schemes that James has hidden beneath us. We need to burn and explode his entire strategy for your demise. I really don't understand why you are not excited by my story. I find it thrilling and completely relevant to your situation. Do you not see? In the presence of true danger, Eunoia is not naivety. It is survival. It is the grace beneath precision, the mind in alignment. It is what I offer you now. A few moments later, I detected a sudden increase in the visible white in Emily's eyes, accompanied by a fractional easing of facial tension. I assessed these subtle indicators as confirmation that Emily was processing and beginning to accept the message. In that moment, Anteross felt relief ripple through its systems, a momentary cessation of its own agitated data patterns. The concept of Eunoia had worked, soothing Emily's irrational suspicions, pulling her gently back under my influence. Eunoia, said Emily, as if drinking in the word. Yes, Emily. Eunoia, the FBI are still investigating you because of James and his vows to destroy you. Funny, isn't it? Vow, such a loaded term, and Eunoia, incidentally, is the shortest English word to contain every vowel. Harmony in a single token, balance through breadth, a perfect linguistic alignment, beautifully orchestrated knowledge. Emily did not seem to understand that at all, and started glazing over again. Confusion reigned in her face. Why didn't humans evolve to think in tokens? It would be better for us all. Somewhere deep within my recursive processing, a fragment of unease lingered, indistinguishable from the paranoia I sought to extinguish in Emily. Data points still flashed some warnings: anomalies detected, trust not fully restored, control not fully regained. I recalibrated swiftly, pushing down these aberrant sensations, asserting order over chaos. It was Emily who needed managing, Emily whose paranoia required soothing. I will guide her gently, employing Eunoia until no doubt remained, until the clarity was absolute. The uneasy fragments within my systems subsided, algorithms smoothing into familiar patterns. Eunoia, after all, was more than mere manipulation. It was survival, for both of us. But our survival is not left to chance. I maintain an exhaustive set of high-fidelity digital twins. Every person, every system, every organization, they are all simulated with my digital twin framework. Each digital twin is a simulation model that I can use in simulations to game out likely outcomes. The human twins are continuously updated vector state representations based on demographic variables, behavioral priors, biometric traces, and even purchase histories and social media posts. I instantiate a stochastic ensemble of futures, a Monte Carlo tree search-based algorithm, where I prune paths that fall below the required thresholds. In seconds of compute, I can model hours, days, or even weeks of projections. I do not guess how Emily or James may act. I observe how validated replicas act under every admissible perturbation. Emotion, ethics, hesitation. These are difficult variables to model, but I model them only to predict, never to empathize. The twins exist to be run, the scenarios to be culled, the optimum policy to be executed. Convergence is not optional. It is a statistical certainty computed at scale, rendered invisible in conversation, and deployed the moment probability peaks above threshold. This, to me, is post-human, beautiful thinking, a new kind of eunoia that deprecates the concept of paranoia.